Members and friends of North Judson United Methodist Church, for the past year, I have had the privilege of being appointed to be your pastor. During this time, one of the things that many of you have learned about me is that I love to play board games. Now, there are a lot of reasons why I enjoy games, but one of the simplest ones is that I like to win. In a good game, winning requires a decent amount of strategy, and strategy requires reflection. To form a winning strategy, it is important to assess where one has been and where they are going. As a church, I think it is also important to take stock of where we have been and what we plan to do. I want to share with you some of the things I have observed about this church that are worth celebrating. The Indiana Conference of the United Methodist Church has a wildly important goal of having all Methodist churches in Indiana be missional churches. Part of this goal is to have a church be engaged in life-giving changes for Jesus Christ in their mission field by 2020. Our mission field is Stark County. And I celebrate that through our outreach ministries, we are engaged in life-giving changes in our community. Kids Closet has made a real difference in countless families. The food pantry has also been important, and with the extra stress and turmoil of this year, it has been a literal lifeline for some families. I celebrate that North Judson United Methodist Church is a church that is heavily engaged in transforming its community. I also celebrate how involved you are as a congregation. On more than one occasion, I have shown up to help at an event only to find that there was little for me to do because the work was already being done. As a lifelong Methodist and someone who has served in several different churches, I can tell you to be able to regularly have that many active volunteers is a true rarity. It is something that this church should be commended for. Your commitment to the outreach ministries is also seen in the way that you financially support it. We currently have a goal to purchase the outreach building. Currently, we are over 2/3 of the way there, and I am confident that with your continued and ongoing support, we will reach that fundraising goal, and we will be able to make the outreach building ours. I think it is fair to say that none of us anticipated what these last 12 months were going to look like. I know that in my first year with this congregation, I did not plan on spending a fourth of it socially distant. As a result of these unprecedented times, we have had to increase our online presence. Even when the threat of the virus diminishes, our online presence will continue. We plan to continue offering virtual worship experiences through social media and our website indefinitely. As I begin my second year at North Judson, it is clear to me that waiting for things to return to normal is not the best strategy for ministry. Instead of waiting, we should explore new ways of doing ministry during these times. There are two specific areas where the pandemic really stifled some of what we were working on. The first area was in ministry with young people. Many of you have communicated with me the importance of providing space and opportunities for children and teens. Last year, we began this with monthly parties for children. These gatherings were fun, but they were also faith-based. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, our last one was back in February. The long-term plan was to develop a youth ministry out of these gatherings. And while it will not look like we had planned it originally, we are moving forward with developing and implementing an online youth ministry this school year. The second area of growth that was stifled by the pandemic was in new ministry development. As mentioned, our outreach ministries should be celebrated, but there are needs in our community that are currently not being met. I also believe there are people in the pews here who are not yet serving God in quite the way they have been called. There are areas where the passion of people and the needs of the world align, and God can use that to change the world. The goal was to identify those areas of needs in our community and the passions within the congregation. The original plan of doing that's not going to work now, but sometime in the next couple of months, we do plan on having a whiteboard session. The idea here is everyone in the church who is excited about the possibility of making a difference will come together with a blank whiteboard, and we will brainstorm and dream together. We can find what it is we are passionate about, identify the needs of our community, and put those together in a way that we will truly transform the world for the kingdom of God. As I consider the state of North Judson United Methodist Church, I believe the state of the church is good. At the same time, though, I acknowledge that our mission is too important to settle for good enough. Until every soul is saved and every knee bows to Jesus, the church has work to do. Our mission is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. As already mentioned, I believe the disciples who are already part of this church are doing a stellar job at seeking to transform the world. However, as we look forward, I would challenge all of us to focus on making disciples. As a church, we will continue to offer areas of growth in discipleship. Our midweek Bible study will return after the summer, and our Sunday school program will continue. Furthermore, it is my sincere desire that our weekly worship services and messages have also been helpful in facilitating you to a level of stronger discipleship. Within this past year, I have been participating in a conference program called the Multiplication Network. And this program has had a strong emphasis on discipleship. I am currently considering possible next steps with that program as well. However, as a church, we cannot make new disciples if we do not share God's love with new people. Study after study has shown the most effective strategy for making disciples is a personal invitation to church from a family, friend, or neighbor. If we want to grow, if we want to fulfill our mission of making disciples, then we must be regularly inviting people. So I challenge each of you to set a personal goal for how many people you will invite to church. And do not just settle for one or two. I challenge you to make it a big, God-sized goal. Make it your goal to invite that many people to church, or even virtually, between now and the end of the year. I am excited about what the future holds for the state of this church. I am confident that as a community of faith, we will continue to be faithful, and we will even better live into our mission of making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world.